Qwen just released their Qwen 3 Max thinking model inside the UI dashboard, and this is a model that is matching Grok 4 Heavy and also GPT-5 High. So it's a very capable model, and I think this is a great time to try and test it out. So what you have to do is go to chat.ai and click Qwen 3 Max and turn the thinking on. So let's test it out. The first prompt I'm going to give it is building an interactive Pokemon Pokédex web page. This model is not very fast, it's a very big, very capable model, and it will take a little bit of time to generate the response. So as we wait for that, we can open up a new chat, use the same model again, select the web dev version here, which is super crucial, and ask it to do something else, create a Flappy Bird game in a single HTML page. The model is going to start working on it and inform us when it's done. And you can access the previous chats where the model is thinking through this history dashboard. Super easy, super simple. So let's open up a new chat, click the thinking model again, and give it the next query, which is a full stack web page that creates a teaching page for transformers. These are the most usual typical prompts I give to super powerful AI models. Through this way, I can compare how good they can design websites, what kind of interesting ideas they have about teaching people very lucratively. The Pokédex page needs to use an API and create a lot of dashboards and menus that are very in-depth, and also the Flappy Bird games allows us to understand what are the capabilities of the model in terms of understanding the difficulty and how to understand the physics of how the Flappy Bird should move. So all of these three prompts we have used in previous videos where we benchmark models, so we have a very good basis of understanding. By the way, I just launched my school community. This is completely free for you to join, and you can do that through the link down below in the description. We already have many classrooms and a lot of courses about learning AI, from coding with AI to NA10 automations, to image video generation, as well as new releases of AI models, and also a course about Python. And we also have crypto in here, because we also do crypto. So I would love to see you inside the course. I think this is a very good community, completely free to join again. So jump in, the link is on the description. So the model here is working, and I think the Flappy Bird game is already done for us, so we can actually see a preview of it. And for some reason, no code was written, which is very, very interesting. It seems like it's completely broken. I don't see any code. As per usual, Qwen, when they release a new model, they don't integrate it well in the UI, which is very disappointing. I really don't know why they do it all the time, but hopefully the model is now going to run like the code again and output the HTML code, because here we cannot see pretty much anything, like the code is empty. Also, we can see exactly the thinking that the model does. This is, in my opinion, very, very powerful. And yeah, you can also tune the thinking budget, which is a very important parameter. These models perform even better with more thinking budget. So you want to click on this down arrow and make sure that the thinking is maximized to the full. If you really want these models to think and, give you exactly what you want, you need to put this to the maximum. So the model here thought about the Pokédex webpage. It has created it for us. We can see it all over here. And now a preview is loading. One interesting fact is that any web page that I build inside Qwen is very hard to use on the Brave browser. I really don't know why. So this is the web page. This is like what the model has created. And I gotta say that this is worse. Yes, this is worse than their cheaper and smaller models like Vision Language 8022 with billion parameters did a better job on this than Qwen Max with thinking budget set to full. So that's a little disappointing. Let's see if this works. Yes, it works. Okay. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going also to give it to the Vision Language model so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So we set the thinking to max, select the vision model, just to show you a comparison, guys, because I think this is very, very important. So let me show you a comparison of what the small vision language model does and what the max model, which is the old generation, actually does. Also, we have here the Flappy Bird game. For some reason, it's not writing the code of a Flappy Bird game. I really cannot understand why it does it. However, the code here exists. which is very interesting. The code exists, but it's not shown here on the UI, which I really don't understand. Maybe that's a bug from their side. Maybe they didn't handle something. So I'm going to take all of that and put it on live with so we can test it out. So this is the Flappy Bird game, and as per usual, it's nearly impossible for us to play this game on any browser. Like, this is the most usual scenario that I see across any AI model. They make a game that is impossible to play. And this is the final response from the vision language model. This is very interesting. The vision language model doesn't have access to the web, so it's not able to access the API, which is really interesting. But you can see here that the UI is a lot more clean, a lot more nice. There's no search bar though, so that's again very interesting. It feels like Qwen models, compared to the previous time I tested them out, have become a lot more damp. I really don't know why that happens though. So this is the game over here. We host it inside LiveWave. So every time we try to play this game, it's actually impossible to do so. However, the Flappy Bird looks nice, the menu looks nice. So I gotta say, this is probably a nice response. But in general, I've never seen like an AI model actually make it work, especially in the past 6 months. I don't know what has happened. In the past, like, these models were doing an incredible job. Again, here, the transformer page is not working for us, which is like insane. So we have to go to LiveWave again. You know, the integration inside the chat UI right now is arguably one of the worst I have seen from, Qwen. Okay, really nice, really interactive UI. Okay, here it shows you like the matrix with the weights and how it goes about. So it says go over this image to see like, I don't know, whatever. This doesn't work, but okay, I can understand that it tries to do something nice. Here we have the transformer architecture. So it shows us how the encoder is and the decoder is. Real world applications, ready to deep dive and roll in the new course. I gotta say, on the website design, they have done a good job. Like, they have improved. This is very bad. This is completely wrong. I will also hover over into a web design. So, okay, this is a placeholder for you to put an image. The website design looks very good. Nice animations. This looks a lot like optimized for, phones. Feels too much optimized for phones, but yeah, it does a very good website build in general on one prompt. So yeah, in general, I gotta say that I'm not really that excited for this response we see over here. Like, I can actually understand that the model is good. However, I have seen better responses from these kind of models in the past. So that disappoints me a little bit. That, like, this was from Qwen Max without thinking. It did a very good job. Arguably, pretty much same quality job as the, Max with a lot of thinking. This is the interactive Pokemon Pokédex that it has created, just showing them for reference. So this was a lot better than the very heavy thinking mode. What else? And yeah, if I go back in time, like in previous models, we can actually see previews. In some of them, they have done an integration error with the code. So this was like from the very cheap model, what website it has created. It has created like a very teach-like presentation type of website, which looks very nice. This is another Pokédex that the models had created in the past. It's a little bit of a different design, but again, it looks very nice and very amazing with a lot of filters. Like, it seemed like the models were a lot better in the past than what Qwen Max is actually doing. So I'm really excited to see the new Qwen models, but I think this Max thinking, is not really up to par with what we expect from Qwen. Like, you see here, this is from Qwen 3 Next 80 billion A3B. This is a super small model that costs like 10% of what the Max model costs to run, maybe even 1% of the cost, and it does this answer, which in my opinion is better. It's actually better than what we got from the Max model. Maybe they have an error on the backend, but really this really doesn't cut it, in my opinion. This is not good for such a big thinking model. I think it really lacks performance, and that's my opinion. Thank you so much for watching.